Hello, my name's Colin and Cambier. I run and own Wainui Valley Mushrooms. Our business is based at home on a little farm in Wainui, and it all started in 2020. We got a couple of wild field mushrooms growing in the paddocks, and they were growing sporadically in different paddocks in different places. And during COVID, I had a bit of time on my hands, and I decided to try and do some research on how I could control the growth of wild field mushrooms in my paddock. Couldn't really find much, found a hell of a lot on how to grow other types of mushrooms, specifically culinary mushrooms like oyster mushrooms and lion's mane, and that's where we are. 5 years down the line, we've converted our shed into a mushroom farm, and I'll give you a quick view as we go through. So first thing we try to achieve down here is an environment we can control. We wanted to keep the weather out so that we can work long hours. I have a full-time day job, so this is a part-time passion for me, but spent a bit of money on it over the last couple of years, and what we've got is a facility that I can control temperatures, humidity and air quality, and different workspaces. I've got Frank up there doing some bagging for me at the moment. This is where we put the substrate into the grow bags. We then apply water to it, and then using these sterilizing drums, we will sterilize the bags. They will sit in this drum for 24 hours. They need to get to temperature and hold that temperature for 12 hours to get sterilization. Once the bag is sterilized, take it out of the drum, we take it through to the lab. This is the laboratory. These are sterilized bags. As you can see, they weld together quite nicely. So what's in here has been cooked for at least 12 hours at 90 degrees to kill any contamination within the bag. We keep them like this until they cool down, and we don't allow anything into it. And when we open the bag with the spore, we do that in front of a HEPA filter, which is this filter over here, and we put the spore in and seal it straight away so that the bags remain as contaminant free as possible. So this just works on a big fan, pumping air through the HEPA filter, driving clean air out across the top of the bag. So once the substrates mix through the bag, they come into here, which is the incubation room. From an incubation room point of view, what we're wanting to control is the quality of the air. So we bring in fresh air, we suck out carbon dioxide. Mushrooms breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. Lion's mane on this side, oyster mushrooms on this side. Oyster mushrooms spend 10 to 12 days in here. When the bag goes fully white like this, it's ready to go into the grow room or into a home grow kit. This is still partially colonized. These lion's mane at the top are ready for the grow room. As you can see here, at different stages, we try and get a weekly cycle going so that we've got fresh mushrooms bags going into the grow rooms all the time. So not much to this room other than temperature and air quality. So once the bags have reached their optimum colonization, they then come into the grow room for a period of time to grow out. So in this room we control the air with a little fan. We've still got the warm controlled air coming in the top. We have a big fan sucking carbon dioxide out. The bags, we cut an opening in the top front of the bags. We expose the mycelium to temperature, moisture and fresh air, and that initiates fruiting. So if you come down here, you can see some of the oyster mushrooms. We've done a harvest already for the weekend, so this is what's left. Here's a classic example of mushrooms just starting to pin on a bag, and then they go through various stages. From pinning to fully grown is 5 days. So the mushrooms will double in size every day. We only take our bags to 2 harvests, so this would be a second harvest. It's much smaller, and then the bags will then end up in the compost bin, which at the moment is probably my biggest seller. I sell more mushroom compost than anything else. I can't keep up effectively. That's oyster mushrooms. We do 3 types. We do the native oyster, We do the pink oyster and we do the Italian oyster. Now the pink oyster is more of a tropical mushroom. This time of the year much harder to grow, but we grow it for farmers markets. People like the look of it and we quite often use it as a display. Don't have a lot of sales to restaurants in that. The natives are starting to take off to restaurants, but predominantly most of the restaurants will stick to the Italian oyster. This is a new venture. We're trialling turkey tail mushrooms. Not really an edible mushroom, but it has massive health benefits. They link to your immune system. So although oysters will give you immune system support, if there's 100 parts of good in this mushroom, 80 parts of that are focused on the immune system. So it is the most concentrated form of immune system building you can get. It has been associated with cancer treatments in the past, not so much as a way of fighting cancer, but a way of building your immune system in your body to cope with stuff like radiation and chemotherapy, which breaks down your body's immunity. Right. This is my lion's mane grow room. Here we grow lion's mane mostly for restaurants and for supplements. We try and put 30 to 40 bags in every week. New bags, we make a cut in the bag. Some of them, when they top fruiting, we grow out the bottom so that it's just easier to put into the dehydrator. As you can see over here, I have stock left for Monday morning, going out to restaurants. We've just done a big harvest down here of mushrooms to go into the dehydrator, which I'll show you in the process room next. Culprits of lion's mane are all linked to the brain. Again, if there's 100 parts of good in this mushroom, at least 80 parts support the brain. It still has some immune system boosts, but mostly it's around growing neurons in the brain, helps you with sleep, energy, focus, memory, anxiety, all of those things that most of us suffer from time to time. It is a supplement, so in a powdered form you would take it daily, about 2 grams a day. I put mine into coffee, but you can take it with your food, you can do whatever you like. As long as you consume it on a regular basis, you'll see some benefits. We've decided to put the TV outside. I'm an All Blacks fan, love to watch a bit of rugby. When we're overseas, it's at funny times of the day, so I'm quite often working. But also it's an opportunity to display the sensors that I have in the rooms so that I know what the temperature is inside, what the humidity levels are at. So it just gives me a quick visual. We also run farm tours through here. We take on about 10 people every 2 months. The idea behind it is to give the people the same kind of tours that we're doing now with the video, but maybe a little bit more in depth. We open up the shop part where they have the opportunity to get some product at discounted rates. Part of the sign up there is they get some mushroom to take away with them as well. So, you know, little things like having a bench seat where the guys can sit and watch an intro on the TV as well, so we can do a PowerPoint as well if we want to get quite technical about it. So the last room is probably the most important, where I spend most of my time. I have a little office going in here, but it's also my process room. Nice big stainless steel bench to work on, prep mushrooms on. We have some of the consumables that we use stored up there. We have some of the home grow kits stored underneath the bench, ready for the market on the weekend. And of course, a very important part of the whole thing is a fridge. We need to be able to keep the mushrooms fresh and cold. Shelf life on these mushrooms is not that fantastic. On the oysters, you'll get 7 to 8 days in a paper bag in the fridge. You'll get the same with the natives. Lion's mane will give you pretty much the same. It's the pink oysters that only last 3 to 4 days in the fridge. So here you can see the dehydrator's in operation. Lion's mane's been spread out across this. We run it at 57 degrees for 12 hours. And then we grind it up using the NutriBullet into a very fine powder. And then we bottle it into our new lion's mane packaging, which is nice and neat, something that you can keep next to the kettle. And we put a little measuring spoon in there.